Hi, I'm Adam Stone. I'm a senior at Bowdon High School here in Bowdon, Georgia, and this is my Bowdon Community Garden. I founded this a little over a year ago through a not-for-profit organization I founded called Go Grow Georgia, and our main goal is to fight food insecurity in areas of low socioeconomic issues. We do this to fight food insecurity and kind of the food desert in our area. I started to notice that the little food pantries all around our town were kind of depleted during the COVID-19 pandemic. So I wanted to start an initiative, and I challenged myself to this. So after a lot of planning and I had proposals up, I went and proposed to the Kiwanis Club and many other corporations. And then a whole lot of planning and budgeting, we kind of come up with an idea for a community garden. So to gain publicity, I started doing a booth. I would take seeds and seedling cups out of recycled water bottles and give those to kids, just teaching a very simple way to start seedlings and grow their own produce or vegetables at home, in a windowsill, in their backyard, back porch, anything like that. And I started to, get known and become a name kind of around town. So I started doing a bi-weekly library class for the homeschooled kids here in Bowdon. So with that, doing the bi-weekly classes and doing booths, I started getting donations and funding to my efforts, and that is what you see behind us. So we got tons of donations, both monetary and material wise. So our phase 1 was 3 raised bed gardens. It's 4x8 gardens you see back there. They're 3 feet tall. I wanted to make sure that they could be optimal for little kids, so it'd be right about chest height, and senior citizens here at the Bowdon Senior Center wouldn't have to bend over to work the garden. One of the challenges we faced was bridging the multi-generational gap as well as the cultural gap in our community. So we use a red light, green light technique whenever we are ready to harvest produce out of the garden. As you see here is a ready for harvest sign. So this can help people who are illiterate or from a different culture to be able to kind of realize, okay, hey, we can pick these, or like over here on these freshly planted tomatoes, it's red, so it's, hey, we can't pick these quite yet. And then we kind of try to push things out on social media, like Facebook and Instagram and even YouTube, to let everybody know when stuff's going to be ready. We do planting clinics, we do seedling clinics, we do how to treat like white mildew and things of that nature out here as well, to kind of help people gain knowledge on gardening in our area, because it's starting to become a lost art, and bring that to their home site or their homestead and start gardening themselves. So what we have here is a raised bed box of spinach, but you may notice these hoops. So these hoops were from last fall's growing season of cucumbers, and this is kind of a trellis system that it kind of creeped up so that we could grow cucumbers and not have spots on them from having contact as they develop. But the reason we have spinach here is because we rotationally garden. So we do a winter crop and a fall crop, and sometimes even things in between. But the reason we do this is so that we can have different microbials and elements being put back into the soil as well as being taken out of the soil throughout the seasons, so we don't have to continually fertilize and put money into the soil here. And it also allows me to teach people these ways and techniques of rotationally gardening and having cover crops and things of that nature for their home sites, or for even here, and also get the max harvest yield while doing that. With the produce grown in the garden, we try to push a cooperative operation where it's Go Grow Georgia kind of supplies and backs all of the gardening efforts, and the community goes and kind of joins in with those efforts, as well as picks all the produce at free will. We try to push for the community to take as much as possible so that we don't have leftovers. But if we do have leftovers, we try to pick them and bring them to the local shelter like Bowdon, as well as the senior center here right next to the garden likes to do classes with the leftover produce. So like last year we did a pickling class as well as a canning class with the leftover cucumbers, and that's kind of a cool opportunity that this garden gives to people of all ages in the community. As you see here on the front of our kiosk, we have our goal, which is to fight food insecurity by providing healthy produce for people in the Bowdon area and hands-on training in food production, as well as the guidelines for everybody to read for ease of gardening. Whenever we aren't having a class or somebody wants to check out the garden for the first time, they can simply just walk up here and read a few very short bullet points so that they kind of have a general idea of the layout, which you can see right here. So this diagram correlates with the layout of all of the labeled raised bed boxes right over there. So people can kind of know, hey, we have this planted in each box, and then right here in the guidelines, it kind of gives some basic strategies of how to pick them. You know, if something's wrong, you can contact us and we can do a class on how to fix an insect problem or a disease that might have happened with the plants. So as you see behind me is some blueberry bushes. This has been our phase 3 of the garden, and it's not quite finished yet. But let me give you some background on kind of the development and each phase that we started with throughout the progression of the gardening to where we are today. So we started with the 3 boxes right up here. This box with the tomato plants in it was actually our proof of concept box. So I built this box out of pocket to kind of show our sponsors what we were going to do and our game plan for how everything was going to be built, the layout, about how big it was, and kind of be open to suggestions for if we need to change the dimensions of it or anything like that. So after I built this one, I built this one right here and the one behind it, and that was our phase 1. We did one fall and winter season out of these 3 boxes, and we planted mostly spinach. We had a few squash and zucchini plants, and I think we had some basil as well. And then after these 3 was the initial funding, mainly from Bowdon Kiwanis Club and the sheriff's office. We expanded 6 more boxes, or 5 more boxes to make 8 boxes. So we added that one and then these few, and we also made shorter boxes for the higher growing things because of mainly lack of funding, as well as we had the idea, you know, if we grow okra or corn or anything like that in the gardening area, it'd be easier to pick things if, you know, it was a 2-foot box instead of like a 3.5-foot box. So that was kind of the method behind these shorter boxes, and we've done about 2 seasons out of all of these. We did a lot of cucumbers, we did green beans, we did bush beans, and I did okra last year in these short boxes, and right now we have lettuce. Continuation of our phase 3 plan for the garden would be 5 more blueberry bushes and a trellis of muscadines and scupperdongs. With this, we hope to gain publicity and expand the knowledge of the community about the garden, and also allow for a diversified production of produce so that we can spark interests for all people with all different backgrounds and all ages in order to give them opportunity to learn and grow in a nice environment like this community garden. The garden is open 24/7 to anyone who would like to go and pick produce. If you have any questions, please contact me on Facebook or Instagram at GoGrowGeorgia. And if anyone would be interested in making donations to keep this garden going and growing, please contact me. And yeah, thank you.